Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to a brand new video here today, and a very exciting one, because today we have our very first free DLC coming to F1 2021 in the form of Portimao. The Portuguese Grand Prix is finally in the F1 2021 game. It's been a while. There's still Imola and the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix circuit to come, of course, but it's still pretty exciting to get at least one of the new circuits as this free DLC. And in this video, we're going to be showing you my very first laps of this track on this game, and then we're going to be doing a 25% race in the second half. And this one, I think, is very highly anticipated compared to Imola. I know Imola is a very iconic circuit, but Portimao, I think everyone was so excited to try this circuit out due to the undulation of everything in sectors 2 and 3, and just how exciting the racing looked and the cars looked on board on TV, of course, last year in 2020, and on this year's calendar as well. And so here we are then in time trial, driving in the Aston Martin, but on equal performance. So it's got the performance of the Mercedes car, but just the shell of the Aston Martin, just for a bit of visual difference, I felt like. And this is my very first lap. No kidding, my first lap. So there might be a few mistakes. There already have been, you know, going wide and there, just catching the car. But already I could tell on this first lap this was going to be a very exciting track to drive around, you know, wrestling the car around, trying to find the groove. But then there's constant, you know, direction change, left, right, undulation, up and down. It's like a roller coaster. You go side to side, and it is a really thrilling experience. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this circuit when it comes to my team Carimo with the AI maxed out cars. It's going to be bonkers, I think. But getting used to the circuit, going wide a little bit. Also, on top of having Portimao added to the circuit, there's also been a performance patch to the cars, so they've been updated slightly to be more reflective of what's happening out on track. So they've effectively become a little bit slower, because they were actually much quicker than real life. So that's also something to get used to. And then there's actually going to be a even deeper change to the handling model to change how there's kind of an unrealistic element with low speed, you know, kind of sliding around. That kind of rear end stepping out we've seen and kind of drifting through has been quicker at times at low speed on this game so far. They're removing that, but they still need to actually train the AI to do that as well. So that's coming in a little bit later, I think. But the actual performance, general performance of the car, I think has already been tweaked. And also the Aston Martin safety car has been added in, and you will see that available on the circuits at which it is at in real life. Obviously, the Aston Martin and Mercedes AMG safety cars share duties now in Formula 1 at different circuits, depending on, you know, whatever agreement they have. So that's now reflective in the game and will be available to you guys in Grand Prix and career mode and such, if the safety car was to come out, of course. But the biggest thing from this DLC is, of course, the Portimao circuit, and it's looking lovely and already kind of getting a groove here. 1 second up on my first lap there. Still going wide though at this last corner. That right-hander, just like in real life, so frustrating. It seems so inviting, but then it's so off-camber and so much trickier to get the nose turned in. And this big slingshot then to the main straight. And turn 1 is also quite tricky to get nailed on, because you just want to, you know, go even quicker into it and take too much of the inside. And then the kind of elevation goes up there a little bit. You go wide too much, and then you have to slow it all down for turn 2. First gear into second, try and get the power down as early as we can, then swing to the left. Easy does it on the right, open up DRS. Then it's a short, sharp run down the hill, and you can really see the elevation as we come down, but then to the next section especially so. Hairpin, tricky, a lot of undesire, I feel, on the exit in the first couple laps I've been doing here, so maybe that'll improve in terms of how I'm getting my brake point. Then here, little lift off, then full power, then on the brake again. This corner, very tricky on the rear end. I've already seen so many gameplays online of people losing the back end there, and this is then the real roller coaster part. Blind corner, right-hander, flick it in, try and get the nose tight there, get on the power as early as we can, and then another roller coaster, down, then up, and then this one's so tricky. You have to kind of go by feeling and then try and get a reference point on the right-hand side, and then the corner, it's so inviting to go quite quick into it, but you have to go quite slow onto the apex, take a wide late apex then, and then run through to the slingshot to the line. But that's been some time trial laps, some pure gameplay just of me. Now let's see what it's like to have a race around here as we go to a 25% race as Max Verstappen.
You join us in Portimao as we prepare for what will undoubtedly be a magnificent day of racing. It's time, of course, for the Portuguese Grand Prix. So Portimao features 15 turns over the course of its 2.9-mile length. 9 are right-handers, 6 are to the left. And this is a track with a lot of uphill action, which only accentuates the importance of getting those exits right, especially at turn 4, where a good line can present opportunities to pass on the way into turn 5. Anthony Davidson will be sharing his insights alongside me once again today, and great to have you here. What should we be looking out for? So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton.
Well, it was a really impressive lap in qualifying to get pole position, but are they going to be able to hold on to the lead into the first corner with so many quick starters around them? Besides that, of course, any kind of turn 1 incident could completely turn the race on its head. Let's keep our fingers crossed everyone can get through in one piece.
Right, so this is going to be very, very interesting because literally, as I've recorded this, I did those first few time trial laps, maybe 5, and then we've jumped straight into this. No other practice. Here we go to 5 red lights to the Portuguese Grand Prix for the very first time on the F1 2021 game. Absolutely awesome to have Portimao here, and we're just going to go straight into a race like this. This is the best way to learn the circuit, the best way to learn what it's like against the AI, as we see the 2 Williams cars have a bit of an issue there, and that was, I think, Latifi getting tagged around by George Russell. We go around the outside of Russell to the inside of Esteban Ocon, and we're up into P14, and looking now at Sebastian Vettel, Raikkonen goes defensive, Vettel on the right, and so great to see the AI being so punchy with each other. Again, we go 3 wide with Kimi and Sebastian, and Vettel keeps it through on the right-hand side to make the overtake for the Aston Martin car. He gets up into P12, so it's really great to see the AI. You know, this is my first race of this circuit, and already showing that they're not going to be any different to how they are on other circuits. You know, sometimes there's always a bit of a fear, I feel, on new circuits that the AI are going to be slightly different to what they are on other circuits. And so far on this game, I've been, you know, very, very thankful. The AI have been punchy, they've been very racy on every circuit, and it's good to see in the opening lap already that they're going to be just as punchy with each other and myself on this track. And turn 1, just like in real life, was difficult for the AI there to kind of all get through cleanly. We get a great run on Vettel then as we go through on the inside. That corner is a bit more of a corner, really, when there's 2 cars involved, and it's just one. Then it's a bit of a different story, but Vettel's going to have a good run. We're not going to use too much ERS here on this straight because we've got the base car. This is not my team, so we can't overuse the ERS too much on the opening lap, and just like in real life, sometimes going a little bit wide there as we try and defend, and still getting used to it because this is probably literally my, I think, 5th or 6th lap ever of Portimao, but we're also on heavy fuel, remember, 25% race, not ultra heavy, but still enough to make a bit of a difference here in the brake zones. But can we now catch Yuki Tsunoda napping a little bit around the outside? Obviously Red Bull, the AlphaTauri performance much different, and we should be able to get up to the podium positions, I would say, by the end of this race. You would think in the Red Bull cars. We now close up on Lance Stroll. Easy does it on that throttle pedal up that right-hander. It's so easy, it seems, to spin it around, because it kind of invites you to go early because you feel like, oh, the track's completely straight up, but because you're going slightly up and the track's elevating, that actually makes the sensitivity of the rear end so much more. So I've seen so many online videos, like I said, of people online just spinning it completely 360 there because they're too eager on the throttle. And also here as well, if you're too early here, you get caught up on the curb. And remember, on this game, the curbs can be very deadly, and I'm sure Portimao, they're no different in terms of the curves being a little bit random at times and being a bit of a death trap. But we're already up into P10 then as we enter lap number 3, so pretty good progress so far. We're now going to kind of keep on with the TV camera shots just to show you the circuit really for the first time from these camera shots, and you can kind of see the elevation a bit better on these shots. I would say very much like TV, you get that sense of a roller coaster ride, and of course it's quite exciting just to kind of have a look at a new circuit in the game, you know, that we're getting kind of, you know, in the middle of the game cycle. You know, we've had some free DLC before on the F1 game in the form of F2 cars, some performance updates, livery updates, but of course those last 2 things are more like patches, whereas this is actually like proper kind of almost, you know, proper like DLC you're getting in the middle of the game cycle. Of course, we know that this is an original circuit on the calendar, but it takes a lot of time for them to make the circuits. It's still going to be some time before we see Imola and Saudi Arabia. I'm hoping we see Imola maybe in the next month, and maybe they've done that on purpose to kind of trickle in those updates. Or of course they probably started on Portimao first, then went to Imola, since Imola was next in the calendar. But it's still exciting, no matter what the situation and context of, Portugal was on the original calendar, so I wasn't in earlier. It's still exciting to get new content like this into the game then in the middle of the cycle, 2 months after the game's launch. And we make a very nice move on Lando Norris then to the inside of that left-hander, now making a pouncing move on Fernando Alonso. Long way around, he's going to keep his foot in there, and we have to try and get him on the exit, but already I'm sensing there's going to be some very satisfying moves. When you go toe-to-toe with cars that are maybe more your performance, because of course the Red Bull should be overtaking the Alpine and McLaren pretty easily, especially around Portugal, compared to in real life as well. With more kind of equalized cars, I can tell with the AI, the way they're kind of keeping their foot in certain ways, the lines they're taking, there's going to be some really exciting racing here, I think. And it's great to see, as I said before, and I'll say it again, the AI going against each other very nicely. Norris versus Alonso there into turn 1. But let's see if we can get Gasly here. This is Honda v Honda power. DRS available to us. We're going to use a little bit of ERS, but I don't want to overuse it, of course, because we need to keep it later on for this race. But down the inside we go, nail the apex, and we just about maintain the car within the white lines this time round to keep us through. And then we're immediately going to get on the back of Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari in a straight line. Another easy pass. Then with DRS here, a little bit of ERS use on the elevation up onto the main straight, and then we come down slightly down the crest into turn 1. Ahead of us, Leclerc and Ricciardo swapping position, I think that was. And then as we move on later, an issue for Valtteri Bottas then. He's going slowly. He's got a mechanical issue of some kind. And he holds up Leclerc and Ricciardo. So we get 3 easy overtakes in one go. And we're up into P3, chasing after Sergio Perez and Hamilton, now our teammate and the other Mercedes car, but they're going to come in for a pit stop then, so we're going to have to go on. We take the lead, but it's going to be kind of short-lived because we're going to come in straight away on the next lap then for our first and only pit stop then in this 25% race. And in terms of the tyre strategy, I don't actually know what it's going to be like. I can't actually remember what it was in real life earlier in the year, because it's so long ago now, it seems like. But my team put on hard tyres. I didn't change the strategy, and I don't know if the hard tyres were the best option because it's a 25% race. Seems like everyone else is on medium, so I've actually now inadvertently, we're going to test out to see how slow the hards are versus the mediums. And so this will maybe give you an inkling whether in career mode or my team or whatever you should be putting on the hards in a 25% race or a 50. I don't think so. On lap 14, Bottas, his car is now fixed, so whatever issue he had, he's solved it, and he's overtaking me on medium tyres, so he has got the upper hand. These tyres actually felt horrendous out the block, so cold, so hard to heat up, but this means now we get a great scrap with Valtteri, bit of contact made side by side through the double right-hander up the hill. You can see how difficult it is to get the power down in the middle of a fight, but us being on the harder compound has meant that Bottas has re-overtaken us, and so we get an opportunity to fight a car that's a bit more similar pace to us. And so now we can see what this circuit's really made of in terms of a one-on-one battle as we make a massive dive bomb down the inside, somehow managed to slow it down. Bottas though goes through on the inside. We're nearly side by side with that entire section, going a bit wide there, and the McLaren is close by, and now we get that slingshot down to the main straight. That's a lovely little camera shot there as we go on to the main one. DRS will be available to us, and which way are we going to go? To the inside. Bottas is going to stick to the racing line. Ricciardo, I think that is trying to follow us through. We go into the racing line, but way too hot, and Bottas is back through the hard compound. Very tough to find some grip through turn 1, I was feeling, and pretty much most corners versus the medium tyre. So we are at a disadvantage, but this is making this a very tasty fight because of that disadvantage. Bottas goes defensive. Us again with DRS. Round the outside we go this time. Lock up on the front left, but we get a good exit. Bottas cuts across. We go to the left though, and we're going to meet side by side through the left, then the right. Lift off there. Give Bottas the room, and we're still going around the outside. Still going. Still still going, and Bottas comes through out of nowhere on the right. He gets the traction now down the hill, up the hill again, side by side, and Bottas keeps his foot in. That is amazing. Great stuff from Bottas's AI. I thought for certain I was going to have that right-hander. I did not think he was going to keep his foot in. So that, as a test run for Portimao to see how good the AI are around here, what kind of good racing we're going to get. If all the AI are going to be that punchy and keep their foot in a fight like that, that is wonderful news for us. Those of us that play, career mode, my team and stuff. And also, obviously wheel-to-wheel league racing is going to be amazing around here as well. Let's not forget that in terms of AI battles, this is a very promising first tester around Portimao. Ricciardo's now overtaken us because I didn't have that much ERS left. We're going to re-overtake Rick Bobby on the inside, just slip it through and get back through into P4, keep it tidy on the exit and try and just keep the 1 second gap to Bottas to make sure we're there with DRS or there at the end of the lap maybe as we come through onto the end of lap 16 onto 17, trying to size up this move then into turn 1 pretty much, a bit wide there but then cut in, get the power on as early as we can. ERS, we're going to use plenty of it through the right hander. Easy does it on the curb there, the undulation, the ricketing of the car and the circuit. It's a very bumpy circuit through there, but here we come through on the left hand side to overtake Bottas finally then to finish off this race in P3, and we won't see any more of him as we go on through to the end of the race, the end of the lap. Hamilton wins it, Perez second, and we've come through for a very tasty third place with a great battle with Bottas. So that is the very first look at Portimao and Portugal on this channel from myself, guys. If you did enjoy it, then be sure to smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. What do you make of Portimao yourself if you played it? If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.